Hello, my name is Robert Hamaker, and I'm a percussionist and a teacher. And today I wanted to introduce the mallet instruments to you a bit, specifically the glockenspiel. Here's the glockenspiel. Okay, so that's what's known as the bells, metal keys, and it's set up just like a piano keyboard. We have the same notes. We name them the same as like a piano. You have the two registers, the lower register and the upper register. On a piano, there are white notes and the black notes. So I'm going to turn this around here so you have the correct perspective. So you can learn where things are. So I would start by trying to give you a couple landmarks to figure out where the notes are, and that's C and F. C and F are pretty important to figure out and easy to figure out based on the upper register or the black notes on a piano. You'll notice they go in groups of 2s and 3s. You'll see that on a piano too. Never mind, we have two groups of 2 here. That's because we don't have the 3rd. There actually would be one here if the bells went lower, but they stop on G. They don't have the F, so there's no note up here. So let's start with C. C, below the staff, and this is a musical staff. We write bells in treble clef. And this middle C is below the staff, so I have to draw another line below the 5 lines of the staff. And then my note is there, and middle C is the lowest C on the instrument. And it's good to know that on all the percussion mallet instruments, so that would be bells, vibraphone, chimes for the metal instruments, and xylophone, the lowest C on all those instruments would be written as a middle C. So if you see the note down here, and you're playing any of those instruments, you go to the lowest C that's on the instrument. Now that's not true for the marimba, but you probably don't have a marimba there yet. But later on, the marimba actually goes an octave or 2 below that, so that goes into bass clef. But anyway, that's a good way to figure out where you are, because it's a very common mistake in the beginning is to see, oh, that's C, and then play the wrong C, right? It's a middle C. It's the lowest C on the instrument. Low meaning, you know, the lower pitch. Okay, so that's C because it's below the 2. That's a C because it's below the 2, and that's written here in the staff, the 3rd space. Remember, if you don't know it, to figure out the notes of the staff, the spaces spell the word face, F-A-C-E, and the lines are G, B, D, F, excuse me, I was just doing bass clef, E, G, B, D, F, and that's every good boy does fine, okay? So learn those if you don't know them. Face for the spaces, every good boy does fine, E, G, B, D, F for the lines. Middle C, the second C, and then on the bells, if you go 2 lines above the top of the staff, you get the highest C, the very top of the instrument. Okay, so there's 3 C's on this. Then to find F's, it's the bottom of the 3s, right? So here's 1, 2, 3 notes. I go below that. That's going to be my F. There's 3, there's my F. And there's 2 F's on this instrument. Okay. So if you start with those landmarks, then you can figure out the other notes in between them. Now remember, the alphabet in music goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then we're done, we start over A. So I'm going to start on C, but I have to remember when I get to G, I don't go H, I go A again. Okay? C, D, E. Right? And then we're to our F, which is below the 3, F, G, A, B, C. So from the F and C, you should be able to figure those in-between notes out. Figure them out easily. So you got C, you got right above C, D, you got F right below is E, right? Those are easy. You got 3 notes here. F, right above F is G. Then you got to remember you got to go back to the beginning A. right below C, or before C is B, etc. You get the idea. So you can, if you really know where the C's and the F's are, you can pretty quickly find the rest. So hopefully that'll help you get started. Then we also have these notes up here, which I haven't touched yet, but these are called accidentals, and they're sharps or flats. Now we're going to call them flats, and for now to learn a couple scales, and I'll explain sharps too. Let me turn this back around now so I can play it easier. So if I have, let's go with a B. So I have my C below the 2. I know B is right before that. If I have something that's a flat, like a B flat, a flat means lower to me. I think of like you have a car and you get a flat tire, the car goes down, right? So down is lower, it's this way. That's my B flat. So any note I have, like G, if I want a G flat, I go down. That's G. Here's G flat, right? So anyway, so the key of F, or actually, before I do that, the key of C, sorry, if we do C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now when you play your scale, start on the left hand for now, and alternate your hands. Don't try to do it all with one hand, because that'll be a problem later on. You can only go half the speed with one hand that you can go with two hands, right? So you want to learn from the very beginning, alternate your hands. Start with your left hand so that you end on the right hand. Okay, so you work on that, and notice my hand position too, and that I'm hitting in the center of the bar. We want to aim for the center of the bar. I'm not holding it like a snare drum, I'm holding it at an angle so that it's easy for me as I go up to pass by the other mallet without it being in the way, which will make it much easier as I speed up. So the C major scale is all these lower notes. Okay, and you just start slow like that, alternate. Then if you go F, which is the next one, and that's our landmark, bottom of the 3, F has one flat, B flat. And we just learned where that is. It's below the B up here. So when I play this scale, I have to reach up to the center of the B flat. That's my F major scale, okay? And I'm going to go over one more scale, which is the B flat scale. I'm going to go to the B flat down here, below middle C. Of course, B is before C and it's flatted, so it's even lower. And that has two flats. It has a B flat and also has an E flat. So E flat, of course, is below the E. Remember, the E is right below the F. You know, those are our landmarks again, so easy to find them. And instead of E, I go to E flat. So I have to change, instead of hitting E flat to do B flat scale. I'm aiming for the center, keeping my hand out at this angle. B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. I did something wrong there because I started with the wrong hand. B flat, C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat. So you want to start on the F again because I want to avoid crossing at the end, which I made a mistake there. So it's okay to make mistakes. You just go back and fix them. Okay, now if you can remember those things and start working on them and you want to start getting faster, let's go back to C real quick. Let me just show you how I would approach that, because everybody likes to go fast, right? Let's take the C major scale and just the first 5 notes. And just work on those 5 notes. Real important here that you keep that right angle as we get faster. Okay, and keep it at a speed where you're not making a lot of mistakes. Don't go past that too much because you're just learning mistakes. And then you take the second half of the scale, but it's going to, instead of stopping on C, I'm going to go up to the D. So these I'm starting with the right hand. This is going to be G to D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So in effect, I've split the scale into 2 halves. So I'm practicing each half before I put them together. Okay? And you can work on speeding that up a lot easier than trying the whole scale. Okay, so that's a really good technique. Here's then, if I put it together, I do the bottom half, do the top half, and I can do the whole scale. A little faster. Okay, so that if you work on your scales that way, you'll be surprised how quickly you get them a little bit faster. It takes time, but and of course in your book, I believe it's essential styles. Your pieces for the bells will probably be in the key of C or F or B flat in the beginning. I'm not showing you E flat, but that's the next one probably, but they're usually going to be flat keys. But just in case you have a sharp key, remember sharp is like a pin is sharp, and if you sit on it, you stand up, right? So you're going to go up. So if I had F sharp, I would start with F and I would go up to the F sharp, F to F sharp. So for example, the key of G, just real quick, has one sharp, F sharp. So I don't play F, I play F sharp, G, and that's my F, okay? So as you're looking at the scales, because those are important, you have to make sure you know which notes to play up here. We call those the accidentals. They're going to be in the key of the scale. If it's C, there's no sharps, no flats. If it's F, it's going to have that one flat, and that'll be shown in the book at the beginning of the piece. It'll have a little flat before things starts. Okay, anyway, so that's almost the end of what I wanted to show you, except that I want to go over arpeggios real quick, and that's a good point now to remind you about this angle. So for C major, if I play the first note and the third note and the fifth note and then the eighth note, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and if I play 1, skip 2, play 3, skip 4, play 5, 6, and 7, skip, and play 8, that's called a C major chord. I could play it as a chord if I have 4 mallets. You're not going to do this in the beginning, but you can play the whole 4 notes at the same time, or we can arpeggiate it, arpeggio, which is what you're going to do. Start with the left hand and play one note, C, E, G, C, skipping every other note. Most of your music will be mostly scales, step by step, or arpeggios where you're skipping one note. That's most music in the beginning is built off of those elements. Okay, so you can go through all of your 3 scales that way. F, you'd have F, A, C, F. If you practice these, then when you get them in the music, they'll be, not a surprise. You'll be able to get them. That's the B flat arpeggio. So, you could do your, this is more advanced, but you could do your scale, C to C. So I did the scale and I did the arpeggio, F. Okay, so, starting slower than that, or if you can do it that fast, great. But if, at a speed where you can get the right notes, and you do that when you get to your book and have to learn one of the pieces, you'll be able to figure it out a lot faster. So do that homework, right? All right, so that's the glockenspiel. I hope this helps you kind of get started on it. I know it's pretty intimidating in the beginning, but don't make the mistake I made when I was started out in music and through high school until I got to college. I was just playing drum set. That's what my favorite thing to play is. And then I got to college and they said, you know what, if you want to be a music major, you have to play these things. You can't graduate unless you play them. So if you start now, you won't have to go through the discomfort I went through having to learn them real fast while you're in college. And still not my favorite instrument to play. I mean, I love the instrument, but it's a hard instrument. So if you start now, it won't be so hard for you later. So take my advice, or you'll regret it later like I did. Okay, so I hope that helps you. And again, my name is Robert Hamaker. I have a website if you're interested in finding out something about me, or you would like to think about doing some lessons with me to learn more about the percussion or drums. And my website is my name, Robert Hamaker, spelled ROBERTHAMAKER.com. So thanks for your time and good luck.